Welcome to Season 3 of Trap Talk.
Brought to you by Craigoff, the choice of champions.
All right, folks, we got to take a quick second and give a huge shout out to our title sponsor, Craigoff. Me and Ricky both shoot them. We both love them.
Yeah, best gun in the industry. I shoot them. I sell them. Nothing better, folks. Get yourself a Craigoff. Your scores will increase.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky's got hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with his. I mean, I've got a few hundreds, but I'm always working to get a little bit better, and they definitely help me, that's for sure. So on top of that, we also got to thank Winnig. I'm wearing the shirt today. Love this shirt. If you're down at the Grand, pick one up.
Yeah, Winnig, like I said, Zach, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds with my Winnig stock. You know, get a hold of Bobby, Luke, Bill, get an appointment set up. They will make you a better shooter with that Winnig stock.
Of course, yeah. The Grand's the great place to do it. Give them a call. Get on their book. It's worth your time.
Just remember, winners shoot Winnigs.
With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Trap Talk, where we are talking about all things trap shooting and living the trap shooting dream with trap shooting greats. Folks, if you love trap shooting, make sure you hit the like button, and subscribe, the button to support the channel. It means the world to us. Ricky, welcome to the show. And we've got our good friend, Matthew Gay. How are you, Matt?
Great. How are you guys?
You know, it's a Monday, and it's a Friday as they're listening, but it's a Monday today in Zach Nannini and Ricky Marshall world.
Well, it's your world. We're just moving through it, man.
You had some bad weather, I take it.
Yeah, you'll see. Obviously, I'm sitting in my car, and no, I'm not living in it, but I'm sitting in it because tornado went by awful close, and we haven't had power since yesterday afternoon. So hopefully the 3 deer and the half a cow that's in my freezers makes it, and we get power back pretty soon. But here we are.
If it doesn't, it sounds like it's time for a barbecue.
A big one, yes. A big one.
Get some friends over there and cook that half a cow up so we can eat it up. That sounds delicious.
And don't open the freezer door.
No.
So Matt,
learn that lesson.
For the listeners today, you are the owner and publisher of Trap Shooting USA, but also on top of that, Outdoor Media Pursuits Group is your official company, correct?
Correct. Yes. Within the group, we have Clay Shooting USA, Trap Shooting USA, Wing and Clay Life, and Lady Outdoor Lifestyles. Yes.
So today we're definitely going to talk about all the magazines, but what we're most excited about is that you guys are officially partnered with Trap Talk. We love it. So you guys, you're our first official magazine, which makes us really, really happy because I think our goals are very much aligned in educating people and spreading the news and getting more people interested in the sport and having fun. And you've got actually, more sectors than even trap shooting, which has been really, really cool and exciting for me and Rick.
Yeah, one of the big things, we've got some amazing talent out in the field all over the country, running around, covering events, talking about the technical stuff, but there's another big piece to it that I really want to push into, and that's the lifestyle piece. You guys have both essentially lived this lifestyle, and there are so many stories and there's so many things to talk about when it comes to the trap shooting lifestyle above and beyond where you hold your gun, which is important. Some of the other stuff, nutrition, all that other, how Sean Hawley shoots doubles, that's all important stuff. But the lifestyle is one of the biggest reasons why we do this. We run around, we see people 4, 5, 7 times a year, whatever it is. And that's the only opportunity we get to spend with those people. And it's social. That's where all of these, the different disciplines that are out there, but trap especially, it's about the social aspect of it, and that's a story that needs to be told with more. It needs to get more time, more exposure in the
more
magazine.
Press time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And Ricky, I mean, you could speak on that fact. I mean, as far as the lifestyle, living on the road. I mean, what do you think about what Matt said?
Yeah, no, it is a lifestyle. I mean, a lot of people don't understand it. They get into trap shooting. It's fun. They do it at their local club. Then they, get involved and maybe go to a big shoot. And the next thing you know, they're hooked. And all of a sudden they're like, well, wait a second. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, it's one of those sports disciplines and lifestyle. If you want to do it, you got to give 100%. And there's a lot of travel. There's a lot of missed family events, I mean, I hate to say it, but, and my oldest son forgives me now, but, he was born an hour after I won my first world championship. I was not there. They induced his mom um, because of health reasons, and ended up being the doctor had to go on vacation. So, you know, but it's one of those. It's a lifestyle that I've done it now. This is my 37th year. Going on my 38th year, and it's fun. I mean, I met my wife, that way. Met a lot of great people, but it is you pick and choose what you're going to do. And as you know, Zach, I mean, you were fortunate. The only thing good out of COVID for you was it made you work remotely, and you got to start shooting more.
Yeah, no, I loved it and
You know.
changed it all up, and it's been great. And we got the podcast out of it, and it's just been
Yep.
a forward move for sure. But Matt, wanting to get to know you a little bit better, I guess we want to talk about why you got into this business with the magazines. But tell us a little bit about your story. What you shoot, kind of where you're from. Just let the listeners know who you are.
Well, it's kind of strange how I got into the business itself, but it started out with I grew up at a gun club. I all through high school I worked at Grand Blanc Huntsman's Club, which is my home club here and just outside of it's probably a half hour outside of Flint, the northern suburbs. And I was very fortunate to have some good teachers and skeet as we had mentioned before. Skeet is a big discipline here. That's the first game I learned how to shoot. Had some good teachers on that, and we were one of the first sporting clay courses in the state of Michigan. So we had that. I believe Birmingham used to have some big trap shoots here in Michigan.
Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
I think that's right around the corner from Detroit Gun Club. So we have a lot of following of all the disciplines here. So that's really how it started. I've always hunted. Wing shooting's my first love. I'm a big grouse hunter here in Michigan. We've got some of the best grouse country and woodcock habitat in the United States. And it just kind of progressed from there. Kind of went through the normal cycle, got into a career. And once I got to where I could start, I had a little expendable income. I started, shooting competitively again. Um, but my trade is actually I'm a HVAC contractor by trade. I just happened to also become an inspector, and I just retired early from the state of Michigan. I was the assistant section chief of the Bureau of Construction Codes in the mechanical division, which basically I had 10 inspectors that worked for me. So I just
Wow.
kind of I leaped, both feet into the magazine business, and then how I got into the magazine business is it's interesting. Getting into writing, my entire career as an inspector or a code official deals a lot with statutes and technical writing and that type of thing. So that was my forte, and I didn't know I could do literary writing until Dana Farrell, who used to you probably know Dana. He used
I
to
know Dana.
I do
edit
also.
the clay shooting. He said, why don't you
Yep.
write for me here? Why don't you write me an article? So I wrote him an article. Next thing I know, I was being asked to write for trap shooting and blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Now I own them. So it's kind of, it's a weird thing. I
First writing and now owning.
now own and yeah, I mean, and I've owned and managed businesses before. I own another small business as well, but yeah, it's been interesting trying to get all these. It was effective January 1st, and then get all these titles under one umbrella and one company, and just all the administrative stuff to make it happen. And we're still in the process of streamlining things and making things efficient. And but what I really like to do is write.
So I do have a question about that. I know you said you bought January 1st. Now I am aware there's the four magazines: Trap Shooting USA, Wing and Clay Life, Lady Outdoor Lifestyles, and then Clay Shooting USA.
Yes.
Before January, I was only aware personally of Trap Shooting USA and Clay Shooting USA.
Yep.
Were those other magazines out there, or did you bring those magazines to this platform, or kind of what's the story there?
I brought Wing and Clay Life to the company. I launched that on my own the first of the year, January 1st of 24. So that magazine, it's actually we're
Okay.
printing Journal 8 right now. It prints 6 times a year. Lady Outdoor Lifestyles has been
Okay.
around. I believe was Thaddeus's idea initially, and then it kind of
Yep.
some things, we had some various people that got involved with that, and ultimately, now I'm helping Brandy run that. Brandy Elrod is the editor of that magazine, and we work together all over. We were just at Pheasant Fest in various places. We work together as a team under the Outdoor Pursuits Media Group umbrella. So, but yeah, the Clay and Trap were separate entities prior to January 1st.
So did Thaddeus then? Because Thaddeus has a lifestyle magazine now, doesn't he?
I believe that's paused at this point. I'm not sure
Okay.
where that's going. That was the sport, that was
Okay.
the sporting life he was working on that, but I believe
Working on.
I believe that's kind of paused right now.
Okay.
So
Because I know the women's deal was a big deal, like that him and I know Stephanie
Stacy,
were excited about doing, or Stacy, sorry.
Stacy, yep.
Yeah.
And Stacy, I've
Yeah.
I've I've kept Stacy on. She's doing all our design work. She does a beautiful job. You've
Nice.
seen the redesign of Trap and Clay, and then of course you guys
Yep.
have gotten your hands on Wing and Clay.
Yep.
That's her design work, and she's doing a great job putting some stuff together, doing a lot of ad design, and people are loving the work that she's doing. So she has a long history with Clay and Trap, so it's definitely
Yeah.
beneficial to keep her around for that historic perspective and her talents as a designer. So yeah.
Yeah. No, she does a great job for sure.
So since we are a trap shooting podcast, I want to talk a little bit about Trap Shooting USA. So tell the listeners, you know, what why should they subscribe to Trap Shooting USA? What makes your magazine different, and what makes it so exciting in your mind?
In my mind, the differences between any other publication out there specific to trap shooting, we have a wider scope of material that we put in. The subject matter, everything from technical, and as I mentioned earlier, getting into the lifestyle part of it is a big it's a big thing for me in terms of giving people interesting things to read and help them. As Ricky said, a lot of people don't understand the lifestyle. Let's help them understand the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Let's help them what the attraction to trap shooting as a game and as a lifestyle is. And once those stories, as those stories get out there, people may start to get it. And we've got I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of trap shooters in the United States. I mean, if you take the membership of the ATA, that's just a fraction of people that shoot trap, and which is the impetus behind Wing and Clay Life, but that's for a different
Yeah.
conversation. There are a lot of people that shoot recreation. There are a ton of kids that shoot trap. Um, and those people, I would like to get them to understand what the attraction is to do this travel and go to these registered shoots. It may bring more people into the sport, which is going to strengthen the sport. We all know a lot of the local shooters are what keeps the local gun clubs alive. If it wasn't for recreational shooters and that
Yeah.
type of thing at all these small gun clubs all over the state, some of those gun clubs wouldn't make it. So getting that story out there, I think, is extremely important.
Yeah, there is a lot of people that shoot trap, and I think the reason why a lot of people shoot traps, it's so easy to have a local trap club, right? I mean, if you look at it, there's not as many big accessible sporting clays courses or even skeet fields around. If you look anywhere around our area, there's a trap club every 25 or 30 minutes. Even if it's just a little local one trap, VFW type of thing where they're shooting meat shoots and
Yeah.
they're getting into it. But at the end of the day, it's all trap shooting. It's all for the good of the sport. All right, folks, we got to take a real quick break and acknowledge the official target of the ATA, White Flyer. They've been sponsoring us since the beginning, and they make a great target. What do you think, Rick?
It's the best target in the ATA. Shout out to everybody there, all the reps, Bill Daniels, Josh Taylor, Nick Arnold, Robert Crow, everything they do for the sport and all the shoots. Really appreciate it.
They're always there. They're always trying to make a better target, and they're always supporting the game that we love so much. Hey, Trop Talk listeners, let's take a quick second to thank a couple more amazing sponsors. SOS Clays Shoot Management. They're doing a fantastic job. I love the app. I love being able to see everything on my phone instantaneously. It's freaking awesome. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, Greg Pink and his group over there. I mean, they've got majority of the satellite grands, majority of the state shoots. I think it's 40 plus state shoots they're doing. But the app, honestly, we were doing a little beta testing with that at the Spring Grand. It's awesome. You can see your squad if they paid. You can see your options, your payouts. The whole works at your fingertips. great deal. They're just
Ricky
killing
knew how
it
much
over there.
money he made before he even got off the line. He was like, "Hey, I'm buying lunch." I'm like, "Yeah, good job. We're good to go."
That's
We
right.
also got gun and trophy insurance. I mean, they're the best in the business. I know they're great price. Ricky, you're familiar with them, right?
Yeah, Cole and Larry Cushman been long-time supporters of myself, and I've been a supporter of them, and especially with my college team. We require insurance. It's so fast and easy to sign up and get your insurance in literally 10 minutes. You can have your guns insured, and they're just great. They're great to deal with. Like I said, you can do your trophies also, your wildlife animals and that such, and your guns. It's just a great.
It's always good when you're
Great
traveling
company.
around to have that peace of mind and know that you don't have to worry about losing your stuff forever. And these are expensive things, especially when you got those Craig offs. You got to keep them insured. Hey, Trap Talk listeners, we got to take a real quick break, and we got to thank Ron Prescott from Mid-State Precious Metals for everything they do for the trap shooting community, coast to coast, for all your gold and silver buying needs. And on top of that, new announcement, they're a sponsor of the 126th Grand American.
Finally, he said it right, folks. Grand American. Yeah, Ron is a great guy. He's a sponsor of the Back Fence Shootout at Nevada State Shoot and Ohio State Shoot. And also, we got our gold for our Trap Talk event at Nevada State Shoot. And the 77th annual Nevada State Shoot, they bought all theirs from him. 680 ounces of silver to be exact, folks. You're missing out if you're not there.
That's a lot of silver. And honestly, if you're not buying from Ron, you're probably overpaying. So whether you're buying it for your gun clubs or your shoots or for your personal use, you got to give them a try because they're big supporters of the Trap Shooting Nation. So it's awesome. All right, Trap Talk listeners, let's take a couple seconds and thank a couple more sponsors. First of all, Remington's been with us since day one. I've been shooting these shells since 2007. I shoot the Nitro 27 from the 27-yard line, ounce and eighth, 7.5, and STS ounce and eighths for singles and doubles. They've worked great for me, as they do a lot of top shooters all around the country. Give them a try. Don't forget the gun club line when you're practicing and you're wanting to save a little bit of money.
We'd also like to thank another sponsor, Outlaw Engineering. Randy Freston, R2. I've known Randy since 1988. They do engineering, surveying, drafting, GIS, civil, structural, land development, wetland permitting. They do it all.
And they're friends of trap shooters. I mean, they're a trap shooting family. They've been in the ATA forever. His dad's been involved. They're involved. They're a beautiful family. They're great people. And we just love that they listen to the show, and we love that they support Trap Talk.
Yeah, his dad was past president in 1989. So I really want to thank those guys for the support. I really appreciate it here at Trap
With
Talk.
that being said,
Let's get back to the show.
do you have any data, Matt, as far as like what amount of people are actually ATA shooters versus just casual trap shooters? I mean, do you have any idea yet or no?
I do actually. What I looked at was I looked at the total of registered shooters across all of the national governing bodies, and you get to right around 80,000 to 90,000, and that's ATA, NSSA, NSCA, right? If you look at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's annual survey, there are about 14.1 million people in the United States that use a shotgun recreationally. Now that includes clay targets, that includes hunting doves, everything. But that is the number. So you can extrapolate from there, and you can put a multiplier to that number, and I would venture to say you probably got somewhere in the neighborhood of wild guesstimate, but 6 to 10 million people in the United States that shoot clay targets recreationally.
That probably sounds right. Or at least once a year, go out and shoot it, right?
Yeah.
So then if we get down to trap shooting, let's just say there's 80 to 90,000 active members in the ATA, maybe that number is 3 or 4 times that in the trap shooting space. I mean, at least of people that consistently, I would think if, there's a lot of people that I know that at the local gun club that shoot leagues and don't shoot ATA. So, if you think of 25 or 30 squads there and only 5 squads of the people shoot ATA, there's a whole ton of folks that just kind of casually enjoy the sport.
Yeah. Look at, Michigan is where the National High School Championships held. Okay. You look, I went to Minnesota the one year for the high school shoot. There was 10,000 kids. And if I remember correctly, it was only like 175 of them shot registered trap out of 10,000.
Yes.
So you take that number now, you take like I teach out in Pennsylvania, and a women's league out there, the Valley Forge Women's League. Um, you know, I don't know how many women, that 300 or 400, only a handful shoot registered. You go into the Nebraska State High School trap shoot in May. There's 2,700 kids there, maybe 200 of them, you know, 10% shoot registered. So, there's a lacking in there of registered targets that I think the associations could maybe do a little better job at getting involved, sending people to the events, talk more about it, give out the free memberships like they do, but really push that to, come try it.
Yep.
Because Zach, like we've talked, and Matt, I don't know if you know this, of course, I've been doing this 30 some years, so I always hear it from the shell manufacturers, but, they sell more shells opening day of dove season than you take all three clay target disciplines combined all year long.
Yep, absolutely.
There's
That's the
a
same
lot of
data that I
shells.
received. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So people look at it and they go, well, why aren't they doing more? Well, but the hunting sector is a huge part of it. But where do people, sharpen their skills up with hunting? They go out, they shoot traps, skeeter, sporting clays.
Yeah, I think it's a carryover, right? Like you're going to have people that are shooting trap, you're going to have people that are shooting sporting clays, then you're going to have people that are hunting, and you never know which one you're going to start in. If you start with hunting, great. You might want to say, okay, well, it's too hot to hunt birds right now because it's the summertime and it's my dogs. I want to shoot sporting clays to get better hunting. Or vice versa. You're shooting sporting clays and now it's cold outside. You don't want to shoot sporting clays, and now you're going out there and you're shooting, chuckers and pheasants and dove or whatever it is that you want to do, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I think if you truly enjoy shotgun shooting, there's a month of the year for every sport, right? You can, just kind of say, okay, what are we doing now? Well, in January, we're doing different things than we're doing in August, obviously. But, to kind of circle into the next topic point, we talked about the hunting side of it. With Wing and Clay, I just got my first copy. I really, really, really loved the way this magazine was laid out.
Yeah.
And this is your inception specifically, correct, Matt?
Yep. Yes. Yep. That's my concept.
All right, Trap Talk listeners, we got to take a real quick break, and I've got something that I'm so excited to announce. Trapshooting USA has now become the official magazine of the Trap Talk podcast.
No, it's not only Trapshooting USA now. It's Wing and Clay Life, Lady Outdoor Lifestyles, and Clay Shooting USA.
I'm just really excited because they make such a high quality magazine. I mean, if you guys haven't had these magazines and you actually get to touch them in your hands, they've got really thick paper, they're really glossy, and they keep it really cool. I mean, I just love it.
The Traveling Gunsmith, and then in this newest episode, we have...
Oh man, look at those handsome guys. I love this. I love it. So also on top of that, Outdoor Pursuits Media, Matt, he's decided that he's going to give away a shotgun at the Grand American this year at our live podcast studio. If you weren't there last year, you missed out. You need to be there this year. It's going to be great. The only thing you have to do is either renew or subscribe to any one of these magazines, and you're going to be in for the drawing for the gun. And we're going to have all that information in the future. Just look out for it, and we'll keep you updated for sure.
With that, let's get back to the show.
So for you, I mean, if you could describe the type of stories and the type of content that you're putting in there, I mean, is it educational? Is it recipes? Is it where should they go hunt? I mean, what's the type of stuff that you find yourself putting in Wing and Clay Life?
Well, we have the different departments in there, and I like to keep those consistent, whether it be a gun review, there's a shotgun coach, there's, we talk about bird dogs, we talk about equipment, and there's different stuff. As you guys get more of them, you'll see how, that subject matter is very wide. And then we focus on, usually 4 nice features. You have some stuff with, it may be, I think the last one was the trip to Ireland that Gary took, and he wrote a beautiful piece on that. There's some historic stuff in there.
Yeah.
We do something on the guns of Ernest Hemingway. Being a writer, Ernest Hemingway has like a, if you don't know who Ernest Hemingway is, you need to at least Google it and start reading his stuff because it's phenomenal stuff. So different.
Throw that in your chat GBT.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just the whole objective of that magazine, and that magazine was born out of the statistics that we just talked about. You have so many people out there that recreationally use a shotgun. And there's a few magazines out there, but there's nothing out there that really encompasses the all that you can do with a shotgun. I mean, I have this next, just to give you an idea, this next piece, a friend of mine who you guys may know was hunting in Africa. He was on a safari, and he told the PH, he's like, I want to go shoot birds. Well, they got an education in black mambas and puff adders and all these different horribly venomous snakes. And he talks about this experience. They went out to shoot, I think, guinea fowl and something else, and how nervous he was, and it's the most dangerous upland hunt
Yeah.
or the most nerve wracking. So that's a great story that's coming out in Journal 8. Um, it just different stuff,
I'm
but we
excited for
don't.
that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting article. But the thing is that that magazine, we want to focus it towards the average person that has a gun club they go to, or maybe interested in getting into the clay target sports. It gives something for the average shotgun shooter or someone that wants to get into it. And talks about, like you said, we have recipes in there. I actually have a Michelin star. All of us. I would assume you guys cook too. I learned how to cook, and that's why I still have 30 pounds I need to lose. But uh, a lot of guys that hunt are very good cooks. Well, I now have a Michelin star trained chef who's going to be providing some additional recipes and just different stuff that you can do with your game birds. And it's just
I do love
it's
a
an
good
all.
recipe.
Who doesn't? Most people, people
And
that
I can't wait to read about that article with the black mamas. The last time I heard of Black Mamba, I was watching Kill Bill 2 when she went in there with that snake and the money. I'm like, oh no. So I know
well,
about those black mamas. They're not to be messed with.
yeah, this one's no joke. When you have a snake that can kill an elephant with one fang, if just one fang gets in, yeah, you're going to be nervous. And and there were several, there's several species of snakes, and by the time they got done, I don't want to give away the whole story, but they also realized that the biggest problem they had out there is a snake that they didn't even tell them about, the Mozambique spitting cobra. So, you know, it's just
Oh,
yeah, it's just wild that
Who was the hunter?
Zach Hine. I don't know if you know Zach
Okay,
Hine.
I know
Yep,
who that is.
yep, yep. He was out there.
Okay.
He's
yeah. They,
contributed to
they,
a
they
few things.
say, I think one of the old sayings, I heard this from an African hunter. He said there's two things certain in the desert. Death from a elephant and death from a black mamba. Like if
Yeah.
you just, I mean, you're not gonna make it out of that.
No, no. It's generally
That's interesting.
it's pretty nasty. I listened to a podcast a couple years ago, about a gentleman that trains dogs because they have the big problem they have there is poaching in Africa and the various kutatas that they
Yeah.
hunt on. And what this gentleman does is he was born, I believe, South African and got into military, trains dogs. Well, this whole story was about the dogs that he trains. In addition to training military and law enforcement dogs in the United States, he also trains dogs for interdiction operations for poachers there. And one of the biggest problems they have is if a dog gets bit by a snake, they have to airlift them out of there in a hurry because you have a very expensive dog with piles of money into it for the training that goes into it. You want to
Oh
save
yeah,
it to the extent you can. But the black mamba is the biggest fear because they're just such a nasty, snake, deadly snake.
nasty
So,
venom.
yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. The very first Krieghoff firearm I ever sold was a Krieghoff double rifle
Okay.
to a friend of mine,
Yep.
and he bought it to go over there to go Cape buffalo hunting, and he wanted a set of over and under barrels or side by side barrels, I should say, shotgun barrels that you could put on it to go bird hunting. And I looked into it, and then he called and said, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." Well, I found out later that was the possibility of where you had to go
Yep.
versus he said it was more dangerous to go hunt birds than to hunt Cape buffalo.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Pretty.
out
And
on
I'm like,
that.
and I said, "What?" And they started talking about all the snakes, and I was like,
I'm
"Yeah."
out. You know what I thinking, Rick. I never would have thought in episode 5 that we'd be talking about snakes and black mambas in Africa on the show after 100 episodes later. It's just like it's crazy to see the direction that we're going. But what we've talked about and in this partnership with Matt is we at Trap Talk are definitely going to expand our horizons, and we are looking to interview more hunting material. So whether it's lodges, whether it's guides, whether it's professional hunters, and different situations
Coaches.
where we can talk about all the other things that you're going to be able to do in the off season, because it's all correlated lifestyle. Like we've been talking about this at the beginning of the show, it's just people that love shooting, people that love outdoors, people that want to be a part of all this stuff that we're doing. And
Well, look at everybody that is outdoors. We're out there shooting. I mean, and I'll throw out a name. And Matt, I don't know if you know him, Alan Helfer, Alan and Shelley Helfer from Alaska. They're good friends of mine. They've shot for years. They own a lodge and a flying service up in Alaska. So, you can go in and fish, of course. And you can hunt too, I'm
and,
sure.
and,
But,
and they're trap shooters, right?
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
and it's
Yep.
just like, if there's people that are trap shooters and have that type of situation laid out, I'm sure that other trap shooters, if they ever wanted to go and make a trip up to Alaska or something like that, they would feel much more comfortable going with somebody that they already know or that knows shoots trap than just some random agency that they looked up online, right? I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just reconnecting and connecting the community with more good people and being able to share more experiences and go from there. So, all right, Trap Talk listeners, we got to take a quick break, and we got to welcome a new sponsor to the show, RGS Bore Stripper. It's a great product. Ricky, tell them how they can find it.
Go to their website, rgsguncleaner.com. You can get the 1 8-ounce bottle, free shipping, 2 8-ounce bottle, and you get the 2-ounce travel bottle, and it's free shipping also. Or just get the little 2-ounce bottle for travel.
Yeah, they sent me some of this product, and I used it on my Krieghoff choke tubes the other day, and it got the plastic out like in a minute, and it was super cool and super good. So if you like cleaning your gun, you like eliminating plastic, and you like shiny bores, give them a try for sure. Thank you so much for supporting the show.
Yeah, we'd really like to thank John Weber, the owner, for the support. He's doing an awesome job.
Yeah, we really want to thank John. We appreciate the support of the show. Anybody that supports Trap Talk, you guys need to support them and get this stuff because it's awesome.
And with that, let's get back to the show.
Matt, one thing I do want to ask you, since you are winging clay and you've got all these other things, is there like any bucket list dream hunt that you want to go on that you're thinking in your mind that you haven't done yet?
Yes, I was actually last May. I was over in Sweden at the Swedish Game Fair, and I was talking to some people and a capercaillie. As I said, I'm a Michigan grouse hunter. Grouse and woodcock is my favorite.
Mhm.
But capercaillie is the largest species of grouse, and they have a couple different ways they hunt him over there. Imagine a hen turkey. It's a grouse about the size of a hen turkey, so it's pretty wild.
Big old
But
buggers.
yeah, they're pretty good
Good
size.
eating.
Yes, that too, and that's definitely
You
on
need
my
the
bucket
Krieghoff double
list.
rifle for them.
Yeah, well, it's the interesting thing about that is early in the season. Over there early in the season, as it was explained to me, they hunt them like we hunt traditionally, like how we walk up hunt pheasants out west. But later in the season, they actually snowshoe in and they hunt them out of trees with a rifle. So, yeah, it's definitely different. It's I got an education on Europe. How they hunt is far different than how
They
we
just
hunt.
shoot them all year long.
They
Yeah,
have
they
a
do. They hunt things a little different.
Yeah, yep. And they call it shooting. They don't call it hunting. So it's duck shooting or
We're gonna go.
dove
We're
shooting
gonna
or
go
pigeon
shooting some
shooting.
stuff.
Yes, yes. They're
That's hilarious.
yeah. And of course I think every wing shooter's dream is to get an opportunity to hunt red-legged partridge on the Scottish moors, on the glorious 12th at some point in their life. But beyond that, I mean, I hunt out west every year. I come out to the Dakotas every year. I usually spend 2 weeks out there. We hunt waterfowl. We hunt, go hunt upland, and we have a plan for retirement to start somewhere way up north Saskatchewan and work our way to Mexico. So that's definitely on the list. That's not a bucket. That's a plan. So there's just everything that you can
Nice.
do with a shotgun, and that's kind of as you were talking about with the with different people and their different interests that shoot trap. I mean, basically, as shotgun shooters, we're interested in shooting flying. Anything that's flying, we have an interest in shooting that, whether it be clay targets, halise, or game birds. It doesn't really matter. And I would venture to say
I
that
feel
a
the
good,
same way.
yeah, I would venture to say a big portion of the guys that and ladies that shoot trap or any of the other major disciplines, the vast majority of them are also bird hunters.
Yeah, I would say honestly, probably 90+% of them. I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah,
I mean, they all start that. Like the last few years, I haven't been able to get out and hunt like I used to, and my kids always remind me of that. Both of my boys are like, "Are we gonna go waterfowl hunting this year or what?" And I'm like, because a lot of my busy season is right during hunting season. I'm
yep,
down south in Florida, or partake in some other private shoots, and you're always gone. So,
yep, yep.
it can be busy. But hunting has always been a passion of mine. Growing up. I mean, I remember killing the first pheasant when I was like 6 years old. I think it was.
Yep.
With my dad. Um, and such. So it's always a lot of fun, and like I said, you meet so many different people in the shooting world that also are big in the hunting world, you know. So, and
Well,
that's where with you guys, with all the magazines now, it makes a big difference. You got a wide spectrum of stuff to cover. Um, so I think that'll
we,
be
we, we,
great.
we always thought we'd get into it a little bit more. I mean, we even started, I mean, one of our sponsors, Rick and Carla Burke at 73 Pointers Ranch. I mean, we did an episode with them, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, Matt, but, I went up there
yep,
and I basically did the whole lodge and talked about how they got into it. And they're both, avid outdoorsmen and enjoy shooting clays, and they love the dogs and everything. And I mean, I just think like for someone like them, winging clay is perfect. I mean,
yes,
it's a perfect layup because not only do they love it, but they're in the business of it, right? They've got birds, chuckers, pheasants, all that stuff out
yep.
there. So that's a shameless plug for 73 Pointers Ranch. Rick and Carla Burke, they're great people. But we'll hopefully have more and more and more of those stories, and maybe do some podcasting from the blind or something like that. I think that would be kind of cool. Some special releases, but it's all in the works right now, folks, and we're just having so much fun with this, and we're so happy that we're getting so much support, and Matt jumping on board with us, which is great. I guess, Matt, one thing I do want to touch on for a second is you said that you were going to be doing some giveaways and some things like that. So tell the listeners right here, right now, what do they have to do to get into this this raffle drawing thing that you're setting up?
So I'm a bit of a nostalgic person, and I like classic shotguns. Right, I collect Ithaca Model 37s, Winchester Model 12s. I just like classic, whether they be target guns or field guns. And I have a beautiful Winchester Super X1 12 gauge vent rib barrel that we're going to give away. I mean, it nearly looks like it just came off of the line. And it's just my love of classic shotguns that kind of sent me in that direction. So basically, for anybody who either renews their subscription to Trap Shooting USA or gets a new subscription, and the same applies to any of the other magazines, they're going to get in the drawing for this shotgun. Um, and we're going to give that away on the live at the Grand. So from April 1st, which by the time this gets out, we'll be past April 1st. But for anybody
Yep.
from April 1st and beyond who renews, who gets a subscription, they will be in the running for that shotgun. Um, there are, you know, one of the things that we're going to be putting out shortly as well is this is whether it's digital or print subscription, it doesn't matter. So we're going to be offering a digital subscription to any of the magazines for $10 a year. So you're going to get with Clay, with Trap Shooting USA, with Wing and Clay, they get 6 editions a year. With Lady, that's a quarterly magazine, Lady Outdoor Lifestyle. So any one of those, they can get a digital subscription for $10 a year. That'll get them in the drawing for this SX, the Super X1.
I mean, that's a fantastic deal, and I just want to reiterate, if anybody isn't interested in getting the paper copies yet, which I really recommend because they're such high quality. I mean, I've had these things in my hands and the articles and everything, and they're wonderful, and I like to keep them on the table, side stand or whatever. But if you just want to literally get into these magazines and see what they're about and just read the articles for $10 a year. I mean,
Yep.
Netflix is more
Can't
than,
beat
I mean,
that.
Netflix
Yep.
is $17 a month now, right? I
Yep.
mean, and
Exactly.
for $40 a year, you could have all 4 magazines and be able to look at everything
That's cheap.
and enjoy it. And then you might even be able to see those ads with me and Ricky in there, smiling, all happy, looking.
Well, and I'm sure there'll be some other ads to follow up with that one. I'm sure you're going to be doing some different stuff as well. So they may be able to collect them, take them, and have you guys sign them, and maybe have them framed, or put them in their gun room, whatever. Zach's shaking his
It's a
head.
lot of fun. I just think it's really. I just really have a hard time with thinking anybody would want to autograph for me or Ricky. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you just you get it. But
Well, I give them out sometimes. You, on the other hand,
hey, it's all
yours they
good.
want autographed at the post office, but it's okay.
I'm autographing everything I can, but it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's fun to see people get excited about the sport. It's fun to see people, learning new things and trying new
Yeah.
things, and like you said, having fun with their friends and family, and getting back to why we do this sport and why we do what we love. So.
All right, folks, we need to take a quick second and get to a new show sponsor, Big Red Motorsports. Big Red, they're personal friends of mine, Jason and George Lee, and they're also a personal sponsor of mine.
Now, I'll say this. Ricky looked great driving around in that side-by-side. I got some free rides down at Tucson, the Autumn Grand. I think it's awesome that they deliver all across the country, and obviously they love trap shooters, they love trap shooting, and they're doing a great job.
Listen, they got Can-Am, Kawasaki, CF Moto, Triton trailers. Hit them up. We'll take care of you guys. With that being said,
Let's get to the show. Matt, it's been just fantastic having you on the show. Is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners before we get out of here today that we're missing out on?
Well, I'm extremely excited to be working with you guys. You've both been around the game and the sport as ambassadors for a long time. And I really like to partner with good people who understand the game, who can articulate and have fun with it. Because again, nobody goes to a gun club to take their precious, extra time and not enjoy it. So getting the word out to possibly get some of these people that are just in the wing shooting world to go to the local gun club, try out trap shooting, and if they really like it, let's go shoot a registered shoot, go try doubles, go try this, something. I mean, I have a friend who has a pheasant preserve 7 miles from my house, which is very convenient, and I do some instruction out there, both in wing shooting and clay shooting, but the thing that I can't understand and never been able to understand is these guys spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a truck and then a dog and then training the dog and then the membership for training the dog and all the gear and all that stuff, but you won't spend 25, $30 a week to go sharpen your shooting skills on the trap range. I never could understand that. And I try to articulate that, and it's like, dude, just take an hour, go to the gun club, buy a couple boxes of shells, and go shoot. You will decrease the
that's
likelihood of your dog needing depression medication because you can't hit anything that the dog finds. So,
Just
you know
shooting
what
and
I mean?
everything, nothing going down.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if it's
That's
sooner or
funny. I like
later.
that depression medicine for the dog.
Yeah, it's just the dogs out there. You might now when we go to North Dakota, I clock on my watch and probably do 12 to 15 miles a day. Well, the dog runs 4 or 5 times that. If he finds
Oh yeah.
especially a wild pheasant, flushes it at 20 yards right at your feet, and you can't hit it, the dog should come back and lift his leg on your foot. I mean, that's just not. I mean, it's just unacceptable. If I'm a dog, I'm thinking, what? I did all that work for nothing. So I try to.
That is Yeah, you are correct, Matt. That is one of the things that I've seen and taught a lot of people. I used to be involved with a sporting clays course, and we had certain events out there and guys had missed. I'd hand out my business cards and one guy goes, "What's this for?" And I said, "Well, we shot 100 targets. You broke 12." And he goes, "Yeah?" And I go, "You own the company?" "Yeah." And I go, "All your employees are beating you?" "Oh, yeah, they are, aren't they?" He took one lesson, started breaking in the 70s. And his employees were like, "Great. Now he's going to be beating us." And I said, "Well, you never want to beat the boss, you know?"
Right.
But it's true. It's so bad. I seen people hunting. They couldn't hit a bird from 10 feet.
No.
And yeah, the dog's like, what's going on? You know, that happens all day.
Yeah.
We could go into story after story about that.
Yeah, in trap shoot, I mean, if you think about it, if you're, it's a lot of pheasant hunters in the United States, trap,
Yep.
for all intents and purposes, replicates a flushing pheasant in front of you. I mean, it's if you want to, at the baseline, there's a little bit, with you not knowing exactly the trajectory of the target, there's a little bit of variability there. So you do have to make quick adjustments based on whether it's hard right, hard left, straight out. So that's good for a bird because you don't know what direction the pheasant's going to go. So trap shooting is a very good way to train to hunt wild pheasants. It's just, it's, for, like I said, $30 a week, go out, you're going to hone your skills and your dog's going to be happier with you. It's just
I agree with that.
I
That's the best advice I've heard all day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
well, Matt, we're excited to see everything that's coming down the pipe. We're going to keep the listeners updated on what's happening at Trap Shooting USA, Wing and Clay, Lady Outdoor Lifestyle, and Clay Shooting USA. We're so excited to partner with you moving forward and to just make trap great again. We're doing it one day at a time as John created our famous shirt. So we will catch you later. We appreciate you sharing your story with us. And we appreciate everything you're doing for the sports and the outdoors.
I appreciate
very much so.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I look forward to. There's so many things that we can do in the future going forward. Lots of plans. John and I have talked about a lot of stuff, and we'll talk with you guys some more. And we just want to we want to dive into this and get this. There's no reason that the shooting sports can't rise to the same level as some of the other sports that seem to have so much more of a following. There's too many people out there that you just get them into this and they fall in love with it, and the next thing you know, they're just like us. It's just getting it out there. Just give them a little taste. I hate to sound like a drug dealer, but get them a little taste.
Set the hook. Set the hook.
Set the hook. Let them wet their beak a touch, and then you got them. So yeah,
it's game over.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, Matt, we'll see you soon. Ricky, we're out of here. Happy Friday, everyone listening. Tune in, like, share, subscribe. We'll see y'all soon.
See you at the next shoot, folks.
See ya.
All right, folks, we got to take another quick break and thank one of our show sponsors, 73 Pointers Ranch, Jonesburg, Missouri. Rick and Carla Burke, best place in the area to go shoot chuckers and pheasants and have a great time. Rick, we got to get you down there.
Yeah, I need to come in. Hopefully I can do some hunting with you guys and come to your the annual clay shoot in August right after the Grand.
It's a lot of fun. It's the Optimist Club charity shoot. They throw a charity shoot. They put it on, and it's wonderful. I think last year they had over 100 entries into it, and it's just a good time. All right, folks, we got to take a quick second and give a shout-out to the Cardinal Center in Marengo, Ohio. They hold the Cardinal Classic, and they also hold the Ohio State Shoot, which is home of the first back fence shootout. Ricky, what do you think about Ohio?
Listen, I love the Cardinal Center. I actually broke the first hunter from the 27 there at their very first shoot ever. Great place, Jake Spangler and their whole clan there. They do an awesome job at running the shoots. The Ohio State shoots ran by the Ohio State Association. The Cardinal Classic's right after the Grand, so if you're looking for some more points right after the Grand, hit that up so you can get a little more points than old Zach here. But listen, it's a great shoot. Great facility.
It really is. I personally love the RVs. They've got great camping there. They've got a great time, good shoot, good target presentation. Go check it out. It's worth putting on your list. With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
And the Trap Talk podcast is brought to you in part by
RM Shooting Clinics. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. If you want to shoot hundreds, give Ricky a call today. Zach Nannini Financial. We believe in putting people first.